You know what I'm starting to realize? That I have a slight lazy eye, and I would have never noticed it except I'm editing myself talking to you guys for like 4 hours, and I'm seeing that one eye is a little droopy. Is this what I look like when I be talking to you guys in person and y'all just like don't be saying nothing? Like, what? Oh, right. Ooh, yeah. Hello from my side of the screen, I'm Leah Mojo, and welcome back to my channel where I retell stories of the Bible while putting my makeup on. If you're ever interested to know which makeup products I use on my face, don't worry, I list them in the description box below. And if you want to know where I purchase my personal study Bible from, I also list that in the description box. So grab yourself a drink, make yourself comfy. But first, disclaimer. I am not a pastor, nor theologian, nor historian. I am simply a lover of Jesus and makeup. That's it. I encourage you to read the good book for yourself. If you have any questions or doubts, that just makes you human. Not here to change anyone's opinions, but I do hope that this series is life-giving and opens us all up to exploring and stretching our individual faiths whilst encouraging us to think outside of ourselves. Cool? I bet. Let's get into it. Today's Bible story is coming from Genesis chapters 14 through 17. Last week we talked about Abram and Sarai, however you say it, and Lot getting kicked out of Egypt. Seriously? Clearly I use this one a lot. To use what we have on the sponge. Now Genesis 14 starts off with a war. Basically, there's these 4 kings that went to war against the king of Sodom, the king of a city called Gomorrah, and then like 3 other kings of other territories. So essentially, it's 4 kings against 5. For clarity, we'll label them Team 4 Crowns against Team 5 Crowns. And just keep in mind that the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah are on Team 5 Crowns. So the war has probably gone on for about 13 or 14 years at this point. But this portion of the story focuses on one particular battle. So one day, all of these kings are at battle with each other in a place called the Valley of Siddim. So they're all lined up in their battle lines, right? So keep in mind, this valley had a bunch of like tar pits. So the combat's happening. People are fighting, dudes getting knocked out left and right. Now, Team 5 Crowns, they're a little shaky. They're a little less confident that they're going to win. So much so that the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah, they just dip out. They straight up leave their battle lines, leaving Team 5 Crowns with 2 less captains. Mind you, when the kings leave, all of their men go with them. Remember those tar pits? Okay, so as these 2 kings flee and all of their men flee with them, some of their men fall into these tar pits. And the ones who didn't fall into the tar pits actually made it to the hills. So this puts Team 5 Crowns at a major disadvantage, so much so that they actually end up losing. So naturally, because they're the winners, Team 4 Crowns actually ends up raiding the territories of Sodom and Gomorrah. And guess who they ended up capturing in Sodom territory? This Lot. So a man who escaped the battle runs to tell Abram what happened. He's like, yo, they done got your nephew. And Abram's like, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. I gotta get my nephew back. So Abram comes up with this plan to get Lot back. So Abram gathers like 300 plus men who were all allied with him. All of these men are trained in combat. And they're like, yo, we're gonna get this Lot back. All right, let's go rescue your nephew. They come up with this plan to attack at night. And they actually succeed in not only rescuing Lot, but also recovering all the stolen goods, women and children that were taken during this raid of Sodom and Gomorrah. So the plan was clearly a success. So naturally, some of the kings from Team 5 Crowns want to congratulate Abram on his success in rescuing his nephew and also just getting all the stuff back that was stolen from Sodom and Gomorrah. So one of the kings, I think he was the king of somewhere called Salem, comes up to Abram and is like, yes, blessed be Abram, and praise the God who he worships. All right, so Abram is so moved by this king's positive attitude that he decides to give him 1/10 of everything that he retrieved. So the king of Sodom chimes in, one of the ones that ran away from battle. And he's like, yeah, Abram, that was awesome what you did. Yeah, so I'll take all my people back and you can keep the goods for yourself. But Abram was like, nah, fam, I'm good. You can honestly have all of your stuff back. Like, I don't really want it. Because you gotta remember, Abram is mad rich already. Like, my man's got coins, okay? He don't need nothing extra.
Belongs to me. I'm rich. I'm rich.
So he tells the king of Gomorrah, you can keep your stuff. You can keep all your stuff. I don't want to say I got rich off your hand. You know what I'm saying? The Abram didn't want more wealth. What he really wanted was an heir that he could pass his riches down to. Otherwise, he'd just have to pass all of his riches down to his closest servant. Which, I mean, it's fine, but it's not ideal. Keep it all in the bloodline. Know what I'm saying? So Abram goes home, men in tow, and he gets another word from the Lord that he would indeed have a son. God's like, remember, Abram, when I told you that I would make your descendants as numerous as the stars? Yeah, I haven't forgotten that promise, bro. You might think I forgot it, but I didn't forget it. And I will give you possession of this land. And Abram is like, cool. But like, how do I know that this land will be mine? Because right now, it ain't really looking too promising, you know what I'm saying? So God is like, all right, Abram, here's what I want you to do. He basically tells Abram to bring him a variety of very specific animals. A cow, a goat, a ram, a dove, and a pigeon. All 3 years old. Very specific. I don't know. So Abe does this. He goes out and he gathers all these animals. He had to drive away some birds of prey that tried to steal his offering as a snack. But hey, he got it done. So after fulfilling this request, Abraham falls asleep and he has a dream. And God tells him in this dream, know for certain that for 400 years, your descendants will be strangers in a land not their own, and they will be enslaved and mistreated there. But I will punish the nation that they serve as slaves, and afterward they will come out with great possessions. You, however, will go to your ancestors in peace and die at a good old age. In the 4th generation, your descendants will come back here, for the sin of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure. End quote. And then this like fire pot torch thing appears and burns up the offering that Abe had prepared. And it's kind of like God's way of sealing that covenant that he would give that land to Abe and his descendants. So there's that. Doing that and talking at the same time, I do not recommend, because these lines are fragile. So that about covers God's promise to Abe about the land. Now, what about the son? Moving right along. Okay, so some time has passed and Abram's wife Sarai had still not gotten pregnant. And when I say some time had passed, I mean she low-key kind of old. So Sarai starts getting a little paranoid. Like, okay, well, God like never actually promised that the son would be delivered through me. I mean, he did, after all, say that it would be Abram's son. I'm super freaking old now. In other words, Abe still has all the ingredients to make the cake, but Sarai believed that her oven was a little too old to bake it. I mean, this ain't an easy bake oven no more. This is an old smoky stove. So she gets this terrible idea to give her slave girl Hagar to Abram, since she is still super young. In Sarai's mind, it's like, oh, he can have the child through her. So she tells this not so bright idea to Abe, and he's like, sure. One recipe for disaster coming right up. All right, so boom, Abe pregos Hagar's ego. And once she gets pregnant, over the months, she really starts feeling herself, like, to the point where she just starts disrespecting Sarai. So either like her pregnancy hormones were raging and she was taking it out on Sarai, or she was feeling herself. Like, ha, you're my boss, but I'm the one that's pregnant with your husband's child, okay? I don't have to listen to you anymore, Sarai, what a stupid name anyway. Just making Sarai's life all types of difficult. And so Sarai is getting really annoyed. So she goes to her husband, Abe, and starts complaining.
This is your fault, Abe. This slave
girl is carrying your child and now she thinks she can run the place. And I am sick of it. You have to fix it.
And Abe is like, no. And Sarai's like,
okay, fine. Fine. I will let the Lord be the judge of who's wrong in this situation. You or me.
And I'm sitting here reading that like, girl, it's you.
Period. 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 Period.
You look like a whole clown. Boo-boo the fool. Ain't nobody tell you to give your husband another woman to sleep with, let alone your slave. Now look at you. She don't even listen to you no more. Stupid. So Abe is like, baby, this not my fight. She's your slave, girl. You handle it. Abe now has wife versus mistress drama. Abe now has baby mama drama. And your wife don't like your baby mama, and your baby mama don't like your wife. All because you agreed to this terrible plan. But he said, I'm gonna just let this cat fight ensue. I'm gonna let it happen. Cause that's your business. So Sarai and Hagar are just straight up being evil to each other at this point.
If you know how I feel, why would you say that? Like, you put me in such an uncomfortable situation. Like, you know I'm not happy.
But somehow Sarai takes it to another level, to the point where Hagar just leaves. She's fed up. She just dips. So pregnant and pierced off, she runs into the desert, and she ends up being found by an angel of the Lord. And he stops her and he's just like, baby, where is you going? What is you doing, baby? And where did you come from? What is you doing? And Hagar tells him, I'm running away from my master and my mistress. I hate it here. Okay? I hate it here. I hate it here. And the angel's like, okay, I'm gonna need you to head on back. Don't worry though, the Lord will increase the descendants of your son for your misery. He has heard your cry. The boy you are pregnant with, name him Ishmael. Now, I'm gonna let you know that ain't nobody really gonna like your son like that. He's not gonna be much of a people person. His brothers aren't really gonna like him either. But yeah, the Lord wants you to name him Ishmael, okay? And Hagar's just like, wow, you are the God who sees me. Thank you. Good luck finding childcare for that, because it couldn't have been me. Anyway, so she has the kid a couple months later and does exactly what the angel of the Lord told her to do. She names him Ishmael. So there's the birth of Ishmael. So some years go by. Ishmael's a kid at this point. Abram is now a crotchety 99 years old. Side note, a few chapters back in the Tower of Babel era, God had limited the age of man to 120 years old. So Abe was elderly even for Bible ages. My man's was a senior citizen. Anyway, one day the Lord tells Abram, I want you to walk blameless before me and I will bless you. Hold on, this is really hard to do when I'm talking. Where were we? Okay. God tells Abram, I want you to walk blameless before me and I will bless you. And you will be the father of many nations. And we are now changing your name from Abram to Abraham, the father of many nations. Kings will come from your lineage. Your descendants shall worship me also. I will give you this land, though you are now a foreigner. And it will also be the land of your offspring. Let's make a covenant out of it. Side note, God really loves covenants. And to seal this covenant, Abraham, I want every male, including you, in your camp to be circumcised. And in the future, every male born into your camp or acquired into your camp must be circumcised by 8 days old. Any uncircumcised male in your camp will be cut off from his people. Whew. As for your wife, her name will now be Sarah. Oh, and as for the son I promised you, I did mean that Sarah would birth that child. You and Sarah will still have a son. And Abe is like, wait a minute, what? We're mad old. My wife is mad old. You would have her deliver a child now at this age? She's 90. Why can't Ishmael live under your blessing? God is like, oh, he will be blessed, okay? But he's not the one that I originally promised. Sarah will have a son by this time next year, and you are to call him Isaac. As for Ishmael, he will produce 12 nations from his bloodline, and he himself will be a great nation. But Isaac is the covenant son. So after God told him this, Abraham went ahead and circumcised every male in his camp, including himself. Solid level of obedience there, okay? Solid. Because my man's is 100 years old at this point, and he's getting circumcised, okay? Why this was the covenant God chose? IDK. I mean, you could have sent another rainbow. But he said what he said. Amen. Whew. So that about wraps things up for this Bible story and makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm really liking this weird, funky, colorful liner look. Let me know your thoughts about this one. This one was low-key juicy. We had baby mama drama, slave versus master drama. I'm just glad I can finally call them Abraham and Sarah, because that whole Abram and Sarai thing was just... Sarai was kicking my tail, okay? Sarai. I ain't never know how to pronounce it for real. Then we had the heir that was not promised. Ooh, child. So make sure you stay tuned for next week's video, because we are not done with Sodom, okay? Nor its evil sister city Gomorrah. Okay, we're still coming for you, okay? Lot is in need of a second rescue. Buckle up, friends. We in for a ride. Make sure to like this video and subscribe for more content. And go ahead and follow me over on Instagram, because that's where I be, baby. And I will see you very soon for next week's video. Okay, love you, bye.